Hi, YouTubers. I would first like to say I am still continuing, I want to say strong on my journey to weight loss because I'm obviously not there at the ideal weight I want to be. And I would like to discuss a little bit about what it feels like to binge, like the feeling. Because I know, like, clinically, they're going to describe things like guilt, shame, numbing, like emotional eating, like they're gonna throw all those terms out there. And personally, I think that's just something that um, maybe people aren't clicking with or just not understanding completely what that truly looks like. And so they don't necessarily give it any credit. So I'm going to admit that, yes, I've been dieting. Not like a specific diet, but let's just say, yes, I've been eating healthy and I've been exercising, changing it up, making sure to keep going, even if I feel discouraged or I feel like that this isn't doing any good, or if my weight fluctuates too much on the scale. I push through it because I know that eventually my body will mellow out. And because I'm a female, unfortunately, the weight fluctuations are just the norm from what I understand. And so I'm trying not to get frustrated with that, but it is really hard not to. And what I really want to discuss, though, is I may have been eating healthy, but there are like a day here and there in the last month or so that I have gone off the rails and definitely overate, just for binging purposes. I think I remember discussing maple bars and candies in my passenger seat. And the recent one was the bundt cake, which I did not finish. I ended up leaving, and my coworkers finished it for me. Thank you, Jesus. Um, but despite all that, despite all those times that I binged or made poor choices with my diet, I still do see the weight loss, and I do see the inches going down, and I do see myself getting smaller. And so I didn't necessarily like quit going to the gym because, oh my gosh, like, what's the point? And I don't necessarily go to the gym to punish myself for my diet. So I I just keep going. I just keep going. Like, okay, that's a crappy decision, but tomorrow is a different story. So tomorrow I'll make better choices. Tomorrow I'll continue to do my workout routine. And so I don't let it get me down. I just know that that's okay, oops, we shouldn't do that. Um, so I just want to I just want to be candid about the fact that I'm not necessarily saying I'm a recovering binge eater, because it happens still. I'm just more conscious about how my body handles it and how to handle it afterward. And maybe my mental status plays a lot to do with that as well. So I also so I also would like to say I've seen tons of weight loss and fitness and health videos for all those overweight people and obese and being obese and fat positivity. I roll my eyes because, oh my gosh, fat positivity. Um, but and I have also seen a few people list things about why they hate being obese, or why they hated being obese because they're no longer obese and overweight. And there's a few that I definitely didn't put on my list, but wow, like, it's out there. The information is out there. So I'm not gonna like dictate any special diet, special lifestyle routine. That is literally dependent on your life, the what you like, your preferences, your nutritional needs, where you are at demographically, what your schedule looks like. Do you have kids? That kind of financial situation. There's so many variables that I can't give you advice on any one thing. So it's up to you to make your educated decision, but make sure you got the education. That's what I say. So don't base your education on other people's opinions and their lifestyle and how their diets and exercise worked. Base it on your education and your life. get educated. Just education is power. Okay, so I'll begin. Uh, the binging. When I was really heavily into the binging, and I mean like I'm gonna go to the store, grab all the snacks I want, and have like three different movies to see, to get me through the weekend because on my days off it was binge eating stuff. And I I gotta say, I know people describe it, but I'm like, I'm more soothed, relaxed, where you can get home and unwind. That is what it felt like to just eat the things that I like. If I wanted a cake, one bite after the other, it was just more relaxing, more soothing. I'm gonna have to say borderline nurturing. Um, and the sad part is that the nurturing part isn't necessarily having to do with the fact that I didn't get enough love and as a child. Um, and I probably when I thought deep down about it for my life, again, my life, not anybody else's life, not the binge eating world. But when I thought about it for my life, I equated to that good feeling of eating these foods because I enjoyed that stuff as a kid. And during the holidays are always my favorite, Thanksgiving to Christmas to New Year's, because that was what I associated as a kid to be, oh, we get to go out to dinner with family, or we can go to family dinners and barbecues and whatnot, and we would get all these special treats. And holidays are good for baking, so we got pies, cakes, cookies, candies. I mean, it was a tons of stuff. And then you had the potlucks, and it was just so fun to and of course socializing and stuff. Wherever there's food, there's going to be people, so it was a good association to me. And it's not saying that the binge eating gave me nostalgia back to my childhood days, but it gave me that same feeling of soothing and nurture and unwinding and relaxing and and then of course like right after I'd be regretful and shameful, and then my body reacted accordingly. Bloatedness, indigestion, tons of weight gain, of course. And I would definitely like try to stay away from those foods for a while, but they would inevitably come back into play if I ever had a stressful day. But that's what I ran to because that was a good association in childhood of what I did, of what I felt when I around those foods in childhood. That's what I felt. And so I started, and I'm literally telling you, it's not the childhood memory that comes back when I'm binging. There was nothing traumatic in my childhood that I'm going to link to overeating. It's the feeling that's associated with those foods that bring bring that sense of everything's right again. Where like even if I feel like I'm spinning out of control with jobs, bills, stress, relationships, friendships, um, demands of work, like if I feel like I'm spinning out of control just from adult responsibilities, I would definitely like to lose myself. Yes, and I do like the word numbing that people use, because it does kind of satiate you from all those stresses, and it does give you that relaxed, everything's right again. It just puts you in that state where you enjoyed life. And like I said, that was when I was a kid, and I got treats during the holidays and Christmas and Thanksgiving, and I got to bake cookies with my friends and my family, and we would, I mean, that was just good feeling all around for all those treats and stuff. And of course, as a kid, I had a huge sweet tooth, and I still do. And so I do associate all that with my love for sweets. So, um, but as growing up, I never really learned how to associate those feelings and how to have a healthy relationship with food. And not a lot of people did, so I couldn't necessarily say that, like, parenting wise, that they understood that either. So, like, if they don't know, like, I can't blame my parents for not giving me a healthy relationship with food, but it happens. So, uh, but that's what I like. That's what I wanted to get put out there, is that when I was overeating, and especially if it was like going back for seconds, and like I would definitely wait until everybody had their share. I'm like, okay, did everybody eat? I don't want to make sure I take anything out of anybody's mouth, kind of thing. But if I go back for seconds, it's because I really enjoyed the food, for one, and because it just made me feel good and I liked that. So you go back and you get another feel good thing, because if that's what feels good, that's what feels good. So I wanted to touch on that binge eating, overeating, association of emotions. And I had to talk it out with myself in the car to figure that out, because I never sat down and actually thought about it. So there are other things that now make me feel better, trying to be more creative and crafty with my hobbies and exploring new adventures, new experiences. That kind of thing gives me a better experience than food now, unfortunately, because the foods I have to cut out, the foods I actually have to eat now because they're healthy, don't necessarily give me the same feeling. So I have to compensate somehow, but not with food. So obviously, food is not the place to go if I want to get soothed or relaxed or stress free. Exercise is actually a good deal for that, because it's hard to be in a bad mood after a good exercise. I've tried to cry, it just doesn't work. um, so exercise would be a good deal. Um, but the feeling of being healthy, and I mean, I'm not at my ideal weight, but I have lost a significant amount of weight, and I'm gonna say that just that 45 pounds alone was enough to, like, what a big deal that made on my health and how I felt about myself. And I know, like, everybody's like, oh, it's your societal construct that oppresses you. No, it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that, you know what? My body doesn't feel good. And I'm almost 40. I'm 39. Well, I'll be 39 next month. So 39. And I'm going to tell you that a lot of the health issues I had didn't start really getting annoying until my mid 30s. So if you're in your 20s and you feel all empowered about being your big self and wanting to go out there and try to force the society to accept you the way you are, go ahead. But you're going to regret, I mean, you're going to look back at yourself 15 years from now and be like, did I really do that? How stupid do I look? And you can listen to me and disagree with me all you want, but I've done the same thing. 100%. I was I was 216. Actually, I'm going to say 210 pounds when I was in high school. And I remember at age 16, I mean, that's still overweight for a teenager, but I consider that skinny now. And I'm telling you right now, no, I didn't have any health problems then either. And like I said, I didn't have any major health problems that started to get inconvenient for my living until after 30. So if you're in your young 20 somethings and be like, I'm healthy, yeah, keep fooling yourself, because your body's going to tell you something different. And you can't ignore your body. And you can for as long as you choose to do that, and then you can't. But that's a whole nother rant. But I'm just letting you know, just letting you know that just the being healthy part feels a lot better than um, binging and feeling good during that binge, because it lasts a whole lot longer. It's so much more satisfying in the sense of self pride and self confidence you give yourself for being stronger to do that. Now, another issue that I have been seeing trending a lot, being talked about a lot on YouTube, and my brain is a sponge, is that oops, there it goes. I just lost my somebody wrung out my sponge. Uh, Feeling good. Oh, here's one until that thought comes back. It is more expensive to eat healthy than it is to eat unhealthy. And why? Yes, I do agree with that. Um, it's just how it is. It's cheaper to get a Big Mac meal than it is to get a healthy option at the same restaurant. So it sucks. It's almost like, do really? And I remember working at a restaurant in Texas, and they had, like, Texas is, it was a very southerny kind of feel for the restaurant. It had a lot of, you know, collard greens and stuff like that. But I remember, I think they let us have one meal that was free. The thing is, I think I started to complain a little bit, saying that, how come I have to pay for the healthy option and you give me a free unhealthy option? Eventually they did change that. I think it was like, it's probably because I spoke up about it, that they was like, yeah, you can have one salad, but in the other ones you can have any free meal you want, I suppose. I think that was so long ago, but I think that's what I remember. But it's a lot more expensive, and because the ingredients are expensive. Now, mind you, my grocery haul has now gone from, like, when I was growing up, once a month, so you stocked up for that month, to now, because I get paid weekly, I may go to grocery shopping once a week or once every other week. So I don't do it as frequently. But but now for my healthy eating, the grocery shopping is a bit more fresh foods, like vegetables, lean meats, um, pretty much anything, pretty much vegetables and fruit, honestly. And I do eat those. I try to eat those on a regular basis throughout the week, so it doesn't last as long. Like I'm gonna eat it through the week because I bought it just for the week. So you don't spend as much on a grocery haul because it's not supposed to last you 2 weeks until you are in the mood to eat it. You have to eat it. And so obviously, if you're wasting food and you're still choosing those high calorie foods, like, pasta, melted cheese is one of them. Cheese you can have way too much of. And then choosing fast food or whatever, you're obviously, yes, you're going to save yourself some money, but we're, uh, I'm against fast food, but I see the convenience of it with my friends, because they're like, oh, I don't have time to cook and I have kids to feed, and so they just go straight to the fast food, and it does create really bad habits with their children. And I've noticed it, where they don't really like home cooking because they're like, oh, mom, I don't like this. I'm like, well, you eat it at McDonald's in the form of a French fry. Like, you can eat it in mashed potatoes. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it creates really bad healthy habits for kids, because just like the kids don't like the peel on the apple, it's like that's the healthiest part, but yet because McDonald's took that peel away, kids associate apples with no peel. So if there's a peel on it, they're like, oh, I won't eat that. And they'll literally eat it until they get to the peel, and then they'll leave the peel. It was like, you're ruining kids, okay? But in my grocery haul, yes, I can get a whole bunch of fattening stuff, packaged stuff, pre-processed stuff, the stuff that I love to binge on, and it's easy, like rice, flour, sugar, all that stuff. Like, I could easily stock that full, and it could last me a long time. Um, or actually, that's a pantry thing. I could stock my pantry and it lasts a long time, but for like processed foods like pasta, rice, uh, I was a lot of cream cheese, a lot of chips, a lot of cheese, a lot of sour cream, a lot of maybe frozen items like pizza, taquitos, things that I can dip, um, all that other stuff. Those don't last very long, do they? No, you eat them, and you eat them in excess, and then that should have lasted you like a week, but it didn't. So, like, the healthy foods actually do last you longer, even if it is more expensive. So my point being for that is that if you want to make the claim that it is expensive to eat healthy and that's your excuse for not eating healthy, in the long run, you're going to be at the doctor's office a lot more with weight related issues, and like you're spending more in your health in the long run, like because of the diet you chose. So is it really cheaper? Because I was going, not that I was going to the doctor a lot, but I did have health related issues that I was spending a lot more on. Like, okay, definitely need baby powder. I definitely need Desitin. Um, I definitely need ibuprofen and heartburn. And I mean, I had to get cream for this, cream for that, yeast infections. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Like you're spending more because of your weight issues in the long run, even if it's not in grocery, it's in other things. But the healthy thing is that when I started to eat healthy, yeah, I did have to pay more on my grocery list for food items, but guess what I paid less of because of that? I don't have to do creams and medications and baby powders and Desitins and all the other like yeast infection stuff. It doesn't happen. And that's just from a 45-pound weight loss. Like 45 pounds, you guys. And I don't have a need to go to the doctor. I have managed my diabetes without a doctor, because I've been exercising and eating the right things. And like I said, my grocery bill might be a little more, but I I obviously make it last. And there's a lot of arguments say, oh, chicken is really cheap, and yeah, you can get chicken and salad, you can do like vegetables and stuff. Like, I get it. I get that chicken, like that was the argument my client made to me this morning when we were discussing it's cheaper to eat, it's more expensive to eat healthy. He goes, well, I don't believe that because chicken's on sale all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but we're talking about a man who doesn't actually, like, he's paralyzed, like he's not active, so his dietary needs are way different from us. And then not only that, but who wants chicken all the time? Yeah. I'm like, by like, there's been videos done about that I actually thought was funny, was the meal prepping where you do chicken, 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 and then like by like the fourth day you're like, you can hardly put that in your mouth anymore. You're like, oh, I can't swallow. Yeah, that is what that's like. That is what that's like. And he made that video because guess what? It was relatable. It's so relatable. But again, variety also costs you a little bit more too, because you're also paying for the different varieties that you want. I can't say for sure, like I do chicken, obviously. I do buy chicken. Um, I think my main thing is actually do like the frozen grilled chicken. And I don't want to say from Costco, but it actually has a good flavor, and it's not that fattening because it's pre-cooked, it's not cooked in oil, it's not fattening, and it gives me that protein I need. And I can put it in wraps, in pastas. Well, not that I eat pasta, but you can pretty much put it in anything and it will adopt the flavor of whatever you're using. Or you can just keep it simple and taste the grilled chicken. But like, that's actually pretty cheap, and that has actually lasted me pretty long, and I haven't had to do a lot of prep work for that. You just measure it and heat it up. So I don't necessarily do chicken, but meat is what it is, and there's other ways around that kind of protein. But like I said, you can eat healthy and save yourself from health issues in the long run, or you can eat stuff. And in retrospect too, I do recall like throwing down $23 at Dollar Tree for their stuff. And you can get like those pasta salad kits and stuff like that. They're absolutely wonderful that you put mayonnaise in. And then like you just like, I had to, but you know what? That didn't barely last not even a week. and I can throw that same money down at the grocery store. Might not get as much, of course, but guess what? It lasts through the week, and it's a more sustainable diet and satiates me more than the unhealthy stuff. So you're giving pros and cons here. And if it's about eating healthy and eating unhealthy, obviously the better option for you would be to eat healthy. And although it's not fun sometimes to choose the healthier option, it definitely is more beneficial, and it does make you feel good in the long run, and it actually lasts you longer. So I touched on binging. I touched on eating healthy compared to eating unhealthy. And oh, that's pretty much it. This wasn't really a subject video. I'm still very amateur about this, and I know I don't get a lot of views. So this is just more like my voice diary, only with my face. So thank you for watching if you can, and thank you for sitting through what you did. Thank you.